Welcome, everyone. Let's begin our lesson for today by going over the learning goals and success criteria. First, what are we learning? We're learning how to perform transformations on linear functions. How are we learning it? Through the linear functions notes and the linear functions assignment. When can we use this information? To recognize the similarities between problems and understand how their solutions might also be similar. How do you know you learned it? By getting a score of 4 on the linear functions assignment. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will begin by going over the learning goals and success criteria. While we do that, you'll fill out your Get It Started. Once you've completed your Get It Started, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. After that, we'll go over the linear functions notes, and then I'll give you time to complete the linear functions assignment on Desmos. Once you've completed the assignment, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. At the end of class, we'll go back over our learning goals and success criteria while you fill out your Before You Go. Your only homework for tonight is to continue working on the reasoning with Families of Functions study guide and any incomplete assignments that you may have. Let's take a look now at the linear functions notes. The notes begin with the learning goals and success criteria. Now, what is slope? Slope is a rate of change involving x values and y values. It's the change in the dependent variable over the change in the independent variable. Or another way to think of it is, it's the change in the y values over the change in the x values. Y-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis, so right there. Slope-intercepted form is typically written as y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Now we can also write equations from graphs by figuring out the slope and the y-intercept. So first thing we need to do is figure out the slope, which is the change in y over change in x. So we have 2 points here, and to get from this point to this point, we go down 1, 2, and then to the right 1, 2, 3. So negative 2 over 3, which is negative 2/3, so that's my slope. Then I can find my y-intercept. My y-intercept is what the value when it crosses, which is right there, 3. So now I just plug that into my y equals mx plus b form. So the slope goes in here for m, and the y-intercept goes in here for b. So this becomes y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. Now how do we graph linear functions? We have y equals 1/3 x minus 2. So the first step is find the slope, find the y-intercept. So the slope is 1/3, y-intercept is negative 2. Then I plot my y-intercept at negative 2, right there. Then I use the slope to plot the second point. So this says I rise 1, run 3, rise 1, run 3, plot the point, connect the dots, and there's how I graph a linear function. Let's look at another example. We have y equals negative 1/2 x. So again, slope is negative 1/2. The y-intercept now isn't showing, so it's just 0. So I plot the y-intercept here at 0. Use my slope, so I go down 1, right 2. Plot my point, connect the dots, and there's my function. Now, how do we perform operations on linear functions? So let's say that f of x is equal to 3 minus x over 2. So we can rewrite that in slope-intercept form. So that's f of x is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 3. So what is negative f of x? So we're going to take that then and make this whole thing negative. So negative f of x is equal to negative 3, right, because we make this negative, and then make this positive, plus x over 2. Or if we want to make it in slope-intercept form, it's negative f of x is equal to 1/2 x minus 3. And what we should notice is whenever we do this, we're just going to end up reflecting it over the x-axis.
Let's talk now about how to sign in to Desmos to complete your work. So what we're going to do is you're going to click on the link to go to the assignment, and it should take you to a page that looks kind of like this. And right here where it says sign in with Google, we're going to click there. And it's going to pop up with our email accounts. You're going to click on your school email account, and it should already have you logged in because you should have already been logged in using Google Classroom. From there, I'm just going to click Start the Activity, and it will take me into the assignment and allow me to begin. So that's how you will log in to Desmos using Google.
Let's take a look now at the linear functions assignment. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. If we scroll down, there's a link here to take us to the activity. Go ahead and click on that activity, and it should take you to a page that looks like this. We'll go ahead and click Start the Activity. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. We'll go ahead and click next. Now it says complete the table for each of these, so we're going to fill in what y would be for each of these x's. So for instance, we plug -1 in here, so -1 over 2 is -1/2. So 3 minus -1/2 is 3 plus 1/2, or 3.5. Then we plug in 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0. 3 minus 0 is just 3. And we'll go ahead and fill in this whole table. 2 over 2 is 1, so 3 minus 1 is 2. And then 3 over 2 is 1.5. So 3 minus 1.5 is 1.5, so 1.5. And you'll do that for each of these. And then we'll click next. Now for this one, it says what transformation maps 3 minus x over 2 to the table for -3 minus x over 2. So if we were to change it and make it negative, what transformation would occur? So you'll state that here. You'll do the same thing for this one where we just make x negative. Then it says use the points for the function to sketch the graph of what that would look like. So -3 minus x over 2. So we would flip this and it becomes like this. And it should look something like that. And we do the same thing for -x. You'd fill those in here. Then we'll click next. It says, what do you notice about the graph? So you're going to state what we notice about the differences in the graphs. And then it says if the function y equals 3 minus x over 2 is the parent function of f, what is the function for y equals x over 2 plus 3? So we would say that y equals, and we take our original f of x, and we're going to change this to be negative, right? This part to be negative. So it would be -x. So we just change that to be a negative, and that changes the entire thing. Then for this one, we make the entire thing change. So this would be y equals -f of x. And then when you're done with that, you'll go ahead and go back to your Google form and click next. This will take you to your before you go. Go ahead and fill out your before you go and then submit your work on Google Classroom.